Hello, everybody. Welcome and happy Sunday. How are you guys? Hi, Hazel. We didn't really even get to say hi.
Hello.
Hello, hello.
Tech issues always trump a pleasant conversation.
That's right. Oh, there's
And
John.
there's Jonna.
Here she comes.
Hey everyone, I'm sorry.
Oh,
I
it's
had
okay.
a tray of all these little pieces and I hit it with my elbow and it flew everywhere.
Oh no.
Right while I was trying to log in.
Aw.
Well, you're here. We're good. We were
I'm
just
here.
saying hi.
Well, hi.
So today we're gonna have some fun, and Hazel is leading the charge today. And Hazel, do you want to tell us a little bit about what we're gonna do, what we should have, if anything, and maybe I'll make you the star of the show here, and you can kind
Uh,
of tell us.
yeah, I hope that everyone is seeing a clearer version of my area than what I'm seeing on my laptop. Um, okay, so what I obviously there wasn't a great deal of time between last month's journaling, Bible journaling thing and today. But I did use part of that time to have a conversation with Carol. I ran a couple of ideas past her and then promptly changed my mind. So it's going to be a bit of a hybrid here. So I have, well, I have a lot of devotionals. And I put the question to Carol as to whether or not, or what role devotionals have in this whole Bible study business. And the answer was that it's a good entree. It's a good way to get into a more studious study studious study of the Bible, and it's a way to sort of supplement, I guess, the study. So just a bit of a sidetrack here. Most of, or many of you will know that I am on a self-imposed moratorium on thrifting. However, each week or each of the last sessions, we have had, like whoever was leading the charge also offered a prize. So I looked at what I had at home and I thought, that doesn't cut it. So I went to a thrift store the other day, made a beeline to the Christian section of the books display.
She was praying all the way, weren't you? You were praying, going, "Don't let me go down another aisle. Give me the strength, Lord. Give me the strength."
Yes.
Well, it did. I can't say that I did that, but I did have to wander because since it's been so long since I was there that they've rearranged the place. I couldn't even find the books. Anyway, I did make a big.
They were trying to lead you astray.
And I made a beeline straight there. Now that place also offers free Bibles, but there was nothing to choose from. There was one, and it wasn't kind of what we need. And then, for those who may not know, I'm in Canada. So whoever wins this prize that I'm offering, I couldn't afford to have a big, bulky package that might trigger a border guard to collect tariffs from you. So I am going to be offering what is going to look kind of skimpy. Oh my goodness, there's a delay. So it's essentially a Bible. I mean, it's Helen Steiner Rice. These are vintage pages from Fulton Ostler's book, Greatest Story Ever Told. Like, I mean, beautiful. I think they're can't remember if they're 1939 or 1949. So a bunch of those. So this is going to hopefully look like a document thing rather than a book. Some images, some other verses and so on colored paper. more images, some praying hands, and the Lord's Prayer. These things I would have salvaged from, when you go to a funeral and you get the little, the little pamphlet thing with the person's date of birth and so on. That's what that is. I'm not sure what that is. Here are a couple of little vintage booklets. Now this will be flattened out so that it looks skinny to the shipping people. Here's something that's really old. I think that's 1960 or 60 cents, one or the other. So these are cute little pages. Flattened. And I'm not sure how how meaningful or not this will be, but I'm throwing in a couple of my art cards. Now I realize there's a glare there. This is the St. Peter and St. Paul Ukrainian Orthodox Church in beautiful downtown Andrew. It's where I was married, where the kids were baptized. And this is a reproduction of a full sheet watercolor painting I did of this church. So that will be the prize. Okay.
Treasure.
So, pardon? Treasure?
They are a treasure.
Yes, for sure.
Did I give
Yep.
girls those?
Yes,
I have one.
I do
Okay,
too.
good. Okay, good. So this is, hopefully this will eventually focus. This
I
is
just set
the
it
verse.
down so it doesn't move. There you go.
This is the verse that I chose, Matthew 6:19-21. And as Carol pointed out before we went live, this is on the same page as the one we began the series with, 4 months ago. Anyway, it leapt out at me because it says, "Don't store up treasures here on earth, where moths eat them and rust destroys them, and where thieves break in and steal. Store your treasures in heaven, where moths and rust cannot destroy, and thieves do not break in and steal. Wherever your treasure is, there be the desires of your heart. There the desires of your heart will also be." So I chose to stop thrifting. I don't know how long it'll last, but I have to say, so far it's been extremely easy. So I thought that could be a starting point. Last month, Hope suggested as one of the tools that we can use is, how about stenciling the Bible? So I have this ready to go. And I just want to say that I wish I would have figured out in the thrift store that I can't mail a book before I bought 6 new devotionals. I honestly, and I was kind of hard pressed as to which one I would want to part with anyway. So as you know, some of them are dated. So I thought, well, wouldn't it be interesting to see what they say, or which any particular one says for November 16th. And that's what I did. I also want to say that and again, there were 2 full bookcases there. So clearly all kinds of styles, all kinds of people who put these things together, and probably all sorts of approaches. This one is the 1-year book of personal prayer. And this is one of those dated ones. This one, very cute with a little hummingbird. This one is also dated. This one is more maybe my style, in that it's like God is talking, but sort of like streetwise. And I thought if you would indulge me, maybe I'll read this one. So God is saying, "You're always welcome. So commit to the Lord whatever you do, and your plans will succeed. Proverbs 16:3. A poor young artist called her aunt one day to let her know that she was leaving on a trip to try to sell her wood carvings of seabirds to the owner of the gift shop at a fashionable resort. And any of us who are creators and makers know that, sometimes getting our stuff out there and into the hands of somebody with cold hard cash is a challenge and the least favorite part of the whole endeavor. She asked her aunt to pray that her venture would be successful. Her aunt assured her that she would pray for the largest order she had ever received. That evening, the young artist called her aunt back. With great exuberance, she told her aunt what had happened. Not only had the gift shop owner purchased all of her carvings, but the owner of a chain of gift shops had ordered as many carvings as she could make. She was filled with wonder at how abundantly God had answered prayer. Now, she says to her aunt, pray that I can fill his order. The aunt, yeah, exactly. Watch what you pray for. Is that the origin of that expression? Her wisely replied, the Lord doesn't open a door for us unless he expects us to walk through it successfully. When you pray for rain, don't be surprised when you get a cloudburst. When you ask for God's help, are you expecting a bare minimum, meager but satisfactory answer, or no answer at all? God wants to help you succeed in all of your endeavors. Open your arms and receive his blessing. He is always glad to help. So I thought that might resonate with the kind of people that maybe are here watching. And I will just go with one final thing, and then we can begin. I hope all of you have been working as I've been speaking. So this is a beautiful little book. In the words of Jesus, it's not very thick, but it is lovely. So this is where I actually got that verse from. So on reflection, it said, Jesus contrasted heavenly values with earthly values when he explained that our first loyalty should be to choose things that do not fade, cannot be stolen or used up, and never wear out. Storing treasures in heaven is not limited to tithing, but is accomplished by acts of obedience to God. There is a sense in which giving our money to God's work is like investing in heaven. But we should seek to please God, not only in our giving, but also in fulfilling God's purposes in all we do. Final thing. So I guess this is structured in that they start with a verse and then somebody has put together a reflection. We should not be fascinated with our possessions, lest they possess us. Sound familiar? This may mean we have to do some cutting back if our possessions are becoming too important to us. Jesus calls for a decision that allows us to live contentedly with whatever we have. That probably means shop your stash, because we have chosen eternal values over temporary earthly treasures. And I know that you can hardly watch a video these days without people either showing a haul, doing a storage video or an organizing video, and essentially wondering, why did I buy this? So that's what I chose for today.
Well, you're hitting it out of the park. Of course, it's something we all think about. I think we all think about it as we're, wanting to create, and there's absolutely no problem with having supplies. I think where we get lost is when we just feel the need to accumulate and not use it. I love that you have the use it, don't store it hashtag, and that you have been using that long before you stopped thrifting. And I think I struggle. I'll make this I'll add my personal piece, and then the other girls can say theirs. But I struggle with sentimentality, keeping things because, that was my mom's, or that was my aunties or whatever. And I found that I needed to do memory keeping to heal from past experiences. And I found that memory keeping, getting something down on the page, putting a piece of maybe something I have saved onto the page, while it helps me to save less, uh, the memory is helping heal, and it's bringing gratitude to my heart for that. And so there, it's always we're asked a juxtaposition, right? Where does your heart lie? Is it with the item, or is it with the place of gratitude, and you can let the piece go now that you've written down the memory? And I think that's kind of what I have been grappling with, and it's a big reason why I started junk journaling, was for that memory piece, because I found it so healing. And doing healing work, if you've had trauma in your life, the result of it for me was more good memories, because I knew there were good things to remember, but I kept getting stuck in thinking about the bad things I could remember. And so junk journaling has really given me more of a grateful heart, more of a focus on the positive, and the healing has brought more positive.
Well said. I guess from my perspective, I don't have a problem. Now, don't get me wrong. I thrift a lot, but I do it, I think, in a little bit different manner. My primary goal, with the exception of shoes and clothes, is that I like to do it for all of you because it makes me really happy. So when I find things that I know you'll love or that you collect or that you're working on, that just makes me happy. But I too struggle with the beyond my craft room, because if I bring something in, just like in my closet, something has to go out. But I do struggle, as Carol does, with the sentimentality of a lot of things. And, um, you know, oh, they were my great great grandma's, or, those kind of things. Or my mom has given me all of the family heirloom ephemera and all of that. And still, I've started to use it, but it's hard, and you have to think about it that way too. Well, where else would it go if you don't use it, like Carol said, in your art? And how cool would my family think it would be to have a lifetime in a journal somewhere in this world, and so their memory carries on, right? So
Yeah.
that's where I have to get right with it, is um not so much bringing so much in, but the sentimentality of those things that if I need to, I can make a copy of it and use that copy, right? Because they're my personal family history. But um my family gave that to me, because otherwise, where would it have gone? Probably in the garbage.
Yeah.
That was a long way around that story, but there you go.
I'm trying to use the chalks with my stencil, and I picked too skinny a stencil. So I'm kind of going back in it to get it brighter with a chalk pencil.
Oh, well, and I use my distress oxide through a stencil, a motif that I love. And then I realized if I wanted to, because I noticed that you highlighted a verse, and I'm thinking, well, isn't highlighting a verse a good idea?
Yeah.
Among you. Anyway, then I thought, well, if I try to add some, even very little bit of water to that, it's going to make that thing run. So it didn't exactly think through the process, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. I think you meant Angela and I were talking ahead of time about what to use with the stencil. And I said, well, you can use Distress ink, but then you need to put a Post-it note on the back of that page that you're working on and
Oh,
make a note on the back and say, you know, put a Post-it note here and say, Distress on the other page. Don't use water on this page.
Well,
uh,
and I want to hear from Jonna too to answer the question
Oh,
that.
yes.
But before we do that, I will just say that Matthew, he's pretty popular in my Bible. You know, we hang out a lot. So I don't have I did highlight the verse, but I've already made it pretty. So I'm gonna have to do a tip in on another page and then write the verse in here. So I just covered a piece of uh thin paper with some McCall's. It was just happened to be in my little scrap thing over here. And now I'm just gonna play with these pastels. So
Fun.
Jonna, we hope you've recovered from the shock of losing all your things. So tell us.
I have. It's all good. Um, so okay, I have two things to say. One is what are treasures on earth, and then what are treasures that can be stored up in heaven. And when you start to read scripture and you hear the description of what is in heaven, the things that are eternal are going to be the people who come to know the Lord Jesus Christ, people who are saved, then and have eternal life, and then our tears are stored in heaven. The Lord says that He bottles our tears, and our prayers, because the word says that the angels actually will pour out the bowls of prayers, and our worship. So, and then the deeds that the Lord has called us to do in our time knowing Him. And so it really, when you ponder that and you think about what's really eternal and where you should be spending your time, at least the majority of the time. Don't get me wrong, we live in the earth, we live in the world, uh, and you have to have stuff to function daily. But how much of your time? This is what I've been thinking about this week, because I have been trying to get out of here to go meet my sister, and it's just been like I have a huge to-do list, and I'm like, seriously, in all of this, what's important? So I hacked the to-do list in half. Like I was like, that's not important, that can wait. And then I got down to, okay, I got to pack. So this morning I was sitting there packing, and I'm just laughing because I'm like, first of all, who came up with the dumb idea that you have to fit everything, all your liquids into a little teeny bag? I mean, do they not know that I'm a woman? Like, how do you fit all of your liquids in a little 1 quart bag? So I'm like shoving it in there, and I'm thinking, okay, I don't need this. Okay, my hair will be frizzy. I don't need that. And so I was so proud of myself because I literally got everything I need for a week in the one little ounce bag. And but I was just thinking, I'm like, and I'm just sitting there trying to go, okay, I have all my clothes laid out, and normally what I do is I kind of stick with like one theme of clothing. But then I'm like, look how many hours I have spent on stuff. This does not even matter in the scheme of eternity, and worrying that it's all going to fit in the suitcase, and you're going to get through TSA okay. And I don't know. It's either it's one thing or the other. It's like your scrapbooking and all your ephemera, and it brings me joy. That brings me joy. But all the organizing it, when you count how many hours you spend organizing it against how many times you actually art, I've always wanted to keep like a tally. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like between buying it, acquiring it, and organizing it, how much time is spent doing that as opposed to actually creating? I need to keep next year. I'm going to have a little pad of paper, and I'm just going to keep how much time I spend on all that stuff. But anyway,
That makes me happy. Like that organizing brings me great joy. So I'm okay with that. That's like art in itself. Hey, I got to tell you a secret, Jonna.
mm-hmm.
And I'm telling you this now because you still have time before you leave. You don't have to fit it all in a quart bag anymore.
Huh?
No, you just don't. You just can't go over unless your airport does something different. You just can't go over your 3 point whatever, however many ounces that is. Um, but every single airport does something different because they want to throw off the crazies. So where one says you don't, one might say you do. So don't take Angela's word for it. Check before you go. But true.
I did. I checked the airline and it said you had to fit it in a bag. So, but I'm like, I don't know at the airport unless I talk to, I guess I could talk to the TSA guy. But right now, it's already, I made it in. So I'm really proud of myself. Like,
Yeah,
I just,
you probably don't want to add more stuff to your bag.
no, I'm not going to add anything else because I'm taking the small, I'm taking like a little hopper, so I can't
A
have
little
too much.
carry on. Wow, I'm impressed, girl.
Yeah, I'm only doing it in a carry on. So
How long are you going to be gone?
a week.
Nicely done.
And the other thing is too, I've got somebody staying at my house while I'm away. So that was the other thing I had to have, you know what I mean? It's like, yeah.
Additional pressure.
Yeah.
Gosh, that looks so cute.
Anyway.
I just wanted to say that I was kind of communicado yesterday because I got it in my head that I am going to do some cleaning and some organizing. So I had, you know how and others have talked about trying to confine it to one room or whatever, but in my case, I've commandeered closets and other rooms and so on. Anyway, so the it's I guess a 5 foot closet that is here at the back door. So the most used one. And I have essentially taken that over except for a few jackets that are hanging in there. So would you believe, and we live on a farm, so obviously we're allowed, excuse me, to have a burning barrel. Well, let me tell you, the barrel was hot, 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 hot. You know what? I had believed, this is maybe 5 years ago, believed the notion that they weren't going to put cookies and crackers and cereal in boxes anymore. I'm being ultra sarcastic here. And I saved every one of those damn things. And I trimmed them. And I thought, oh, the covers someday. Backings from 12 by 12 pads or art sketch pads. Packaging of all sizes and descriptions. I bet you that I got rid of 3/4 of that stuff. We had also been saving all the mail that, invoices and, well, all the junk mail that comes in. Got rid of probably 3/4 of that stuff. And then book blocks. Now, you guys tell me if you do something similar. In the beginning, if I would either look at my library, go thrifting and see a book that I had possibilities. And again, that's a moving target. I've gotten more selective and more refined in what I want. But in the beginning, I didn't know any better and I didn't have anything. So I needed everything. Anyway, I would remove the cover, and goodness knows I saved every cover. Unless it was moldy, I saved every cover. And that's craziness. Because number one, they're not all beautiful. They're not all the right size. And when you have more to choose from, you realize some are just too ugly to use. Or why would you use that one when there's something beautiful as an option? So I will have to go through my book covers one day. But I would also, okay, if I've removed the cover, I have a book block. Sometimes I would have taken some of the stuff out that I wanted. And sometimes I just had these darn book blocks. So many of those have gone the way of the garbage because there's nothing, yes, the paper from the 60s or the 40s or whatever may be nice, but I'm not going to live long enough to use all the papers that I have. So why not say creme de la creme and get rid of the mediocre? I did save all the foreign language, well, not all of it, but a lot of the foreign language stuff I have, because, once you buy Chinese and Japanese and German, Dutch and Ukrainian and French, and Spanish, if you buy it once, you're done. You don't need more. So that's what I was doing. I was a blur yesterday. I was so busy.
Did you feel accomplished and proud of yourself, I hope?
Yes. But again, it's and again, I that should be a full stop. Yes, I was proud of myself. But
Cool.
the Hazel wants to say, I know that there's so much more to be done. And you know how we all wanted those Reader's Digest with the nice covers?
Oh yeah.
Well, a lot of them, now too many of them have war images, to be honest, or manly stuff, guys jumping out of helicopters and whatnot. But sometimes they're really nice illustrations. So I pulled out illustrations that I'm realistically going to use, and the others, bye-bye.
Wow. Yeah, I think it feels so good when you can just, well, I like to pitch things, but it just feels good when that garbage bag goes to the curb or to the recycling, or to the burn bin.
When you guys, so can you just each of you tell me what kind of book covers you keep? Do you just keep the sort of the common sizes, or has anyone ever cut down an oversized book board to get two covers out of one book?
Yeah, I have several times, but I mean, to be honest, I don't keep any extra books. If I think I'm going to make them into a journal, then I keep them usually intact until I'm ready to use them, which is kind of a space thing, But I don't keep any extra ones except for if I have torn out a book, and especially the great big oversized ones. Some of you that receive packages from me probably notice this, but I use those like if I have a magazine that's oversized and I want to make sure it stays nice. So then I wrap the cover around it, and then that somebody can use it or they can ditch it if they want. But that's how I recycle mine. Otherwise, I don't really keep any extra ones.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it works really nice because I'm always looking for like a huge, like I had to mail Hope a package and it was kind of a weird shape and I couldn't find anything. So I had to use the priority mailboxes, we can't use anymore. So I had to use two. When she gets it, Hope, you're going to be like, what did she do? But it looks like a sandwich, like a postage box sandwich. Because I had run out of the oversized books. But when I have those, they work brilliantly.
I save antique book covers that might have a I don't know, that like it doesn't really have it doesn't have a title on the cover. It just has something maybe pretty or ornate. And I don't have a lot of those. Maybe half a dozen or so, because I figure if I'm gonna do like a memory keeping journal for somebody else, I just find that the right books find me when it's time. I did I think the last special order journal I made for somebody was somebody had ordered, they sent me all their 6 years of college memorabilia, and they had me condense it down to one journal. And I usually have people like put in an envelope things that have to be in the journal and then things that are an option for me to tear up or use however. And the person, I gave her a choice of two different color covers, and one of them actually did have a title that was BF's daughter. And she flipped because she said, "Where in the world did you get that book? And how do you know that both of my parents' initials are BF?" And I said, I had no idea. The right things come to me at the time that I need them is kind of how I feel like. And but I do keep some pretty journal covers, and then I do have a collection of the Reader's Digest covers because I like those for just making any kind of journal.
Yep.
Although I haven't honestly used one in a long while
Um,
because
I wanted to, I didn't, put in my peanut gallery comments after each of you spoke. When you were talking about the memory keeping, it made me think or made me wonder if that was part of the origin behind the whole scrapbooking movement. The idea that you don't need to save your daughter's first little dress if you take a picture of your daughter in that first little dress, and that whole mentality. So, is that something that you guys do as a way to get rid of um, the physical item and still have the memory of the physical item?
definitely now. Uh, Nobody clued me into that back when my kids were little. I scrapbooked and I saved the dresses, and now my granddaughter's wearing the dresses. Honestly, yeah, it's really, I get it. It's kind of ridiculous. My girls are much more practical. They'll look at something and say, "Oh, that's stained," or that's not going to fit my kids because of the season that that I was that size is not going to be the same as when I'm having kids or whatever. Like they're much more
Yeah,
practical. But then my oldest daughter, I mean, both of them are very artistic. And the older one likes to do a lot of sewing projects. She's the one who makes the scrappy ties and things and sends them to the sale. But she 2 years ago for Christmas, I had 3 Christmas outfits of hers from over the years from infancy, and she took them and she made me a decorative little banner out
oh,
of those outfits.
yeah,
And so, yeah, some of that, she knows just to save just enough that it just makes me smile. And it's not an item that's taking up space, but it is true that every single thing we save requires us to have some bandwidth in our brain to remember we have it and to pull it out and use it. And so, yeah, we constantly, I feel like, have to be evaluating the value of that and the value of freedom of that brain space.
yeah.
Yeah, well, I don't know that this is any better, Hazel, because uh I had my kids' pictures taken, whether it was professionally or by my mom or I, every single month for, well, pretty much the first 2 years, but absolutely their first 1 year. And then the second year, it was like, every 3 months. So
I
I
thought you
kept a
were going
few.
to for the first kid, and then after that,
Oh
you
no,
know
I
how.
was I was at least consistent with that. I did do it for both of them. Um, so they can't come back and say, you have no pictures of me, like my sister does. But but I kept, really significant one, like their coming home outfit, their when they were dedicated, those outfits, their first
Halloween,
birthday
Christmas.
outfits, yeah. But my mom just recently, she brought home a few things that were mine when I was little, which, and she didn't keep a ton of them because they took a lot of pictures of me. Um, and so some of those will be really cute. And even Demi said, "Oh my gosh, I hope I have a little girl so they can wear these." Uh, but she also brought me all my prom dresses. So like, I think on my lives, I'm going to have to start wearing these, like, dress up. because I'm like, what am I going to do with these things, But Mo and I made them together, so they are extra special. It's not like, and none of my prom dresses were, I did not want to be like everybody else and risk that I might go to the prom in a dress that somebody else had bought and had. So mine were all original. So they're extra special to me. And, I think that that's okay too. Like my niece and Demi went to my mom's house and they went in the attic and they tried on my, Courtney's dresses and outfits. My mom had a few that she had made herself and they did a photo shoot outside. And so now if they're gone, it's probably not a big deal to my mom, but that was such a memory for them. So I don't have a
Yeah.
ton, but I did keep the significant ones.
And Jonna, what about you? Do you keep the original or do you keep a facsimile of the original?
As far as like my children's things?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's what other people have talked about. It doesn't
Oh,
necessarily have to be children. It could be your own stuff.
okay. Well, when I would travel, like I would come home with like, because I would always thrift and stuff like in foreign countries and things, and oh my goodness, I would come home with like a whole suitcase of stuff, and then I'd put it in a big bin thinking I would make some kind of journal. And I don't know, about a decade ago, I was like, why am I doing this? So I went and I bought a bunch of shoe boxes, those nice ones from Michael's. And I said, you can only fill one shoe box with the stuff that you really treasure on your trip. And so I did it. I dated it. I put the country. I started doing traveler's notebook. So I actually like bring a traveler's notebook wherever I go. And then I journal in that and I stick it in the, and if it's not finished and I go back to that country, because a lot of times I repeat countries, and then I'll just take that same traveler's notebook and put in the next, put the next year that I went. And I'm telling you what, it freed me. I have little shoe boxes of all these little treasures from all these countries I've gone to, and they're only in a shoe box. And I put all my I bought a little printer that I take with me, so I print out my photos right there. And no more discs and thumb drives and all that stuff. And I mean, yeah, I found that worked for me really well because I just had so much stuff. So now if I want to go back and I want to look at that trip, I don't have an album because I did all that. I gave all those to my daughters. They got all their 12 by 12 albums of their whole lives and all that stuff. And growing up. And then I had a storage unit full of bins. I saved everything because we moved several times. Plus, we had a flood when I was a kid. So I lost like a lot of my childhood things. And so I saved everything. I saved every paper, every note, I mean, they had bins and bins and bins. So when they graduated from college and went out on their own, they all got all the bins. Like they had every single Halloween costume I made them, every single dance costume. I saw my a friend of mine. They posted some things because my daughter got to dance in the Macy's Day Parade for Thanksgiving, and she was posting that she was talking about how they had, saved, they had all this, special outfit and blah blah blah. And like I saved all of that. They had everything from their childhood. And but I mean, it took us half a storage room. And but I don't, I'm trying to get better. So I've just downed it to a couple of shoe boxes right now. And after my sister passed, I saw what my family wanted, my brothers and my sisters. I'm probably the most sentimental in my family out of 5 of us. And so that's hard when you have a lot of
Yes.
but how many things do you need? Like and I saw my mother's house when she passed. Like I was like, oh my goodness, almost everything in here was her mother's. I'm like, where is her and daddy's things? So she kept things that were her mother's and her grandmother's instead of the things that were from her and my father. So except for like I got their wedding china and crystal, but it's like I don't know. I don't know. It's just stuff. It ends up eventually in a estate sale or a landfill. But what if you should notice what your siblings, if anyone in your family has passed, what your siblings take, because everything else, that's what's going to be left. That's
Yeah,
just saying.
true.
So
Having just gone through 3 different relatives' belongings in the last year
Hmm.
who passed, um, yeah, it really does make you think. And I I did school days scrapbooks for my girls, and I tried to whittle it down to where they each maybe took 2 bins away from our house. Um, they and I gave them full permission to not feel guilty about letting any of it go that they want to let go. Because I don't I watch people saddle their kids with things, and there's this great big like guilt trip that comes along with it, um if you let it go. And gifts can be that way too, and I just don't want to ever put stuff over the people. I like to save things, but I don't expect my daughters to do the same thing.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's how I feel. I just put notes in the boxes, and I said I saved every toy, practically every toy that they had, like from baby things that they loved, all that stuff. And I just put whatever you want to get rid of, get rid of. But when you get older, I'm not going to be the one you blame for tossing stuff out.
Right.
So I said, you throw it out. But I when you were talking, I thought about that too. I was just talking to my sister because we were talking about last year. I don't need anything, you don't need anything, and over the years, we've just decided that we were going to do experiences
Yeah.
and not have any more, add any more stuff to anything. And you know, so we've been good about just trying to get together a couple times a year and just having the experience. And same way with my brothers. And um
Yeah, I
you know
love that.
Yeah. I think
so
that's where we're kind of headed too, because nobody wants more stuff. I mean, my sister-in-law and my sister and I are like, we don't really need anything, like let's just go do something and have quality time together. And I think even our kids are getting a little bit more like that too. But my mom just said to me today, she was looking for something, and she's like, I am serious. She said, you kids come and get whatever crap you want out of this house. Take it now before I die. Just enjoy it and then get rid of all the rest of it. And I'm like, all right, well, I have a feeling that I will be the only one that has a sentimental, attachment to any of it. And so there's still going to be a house full of stuff, just let's be reasonable, mother.
Yeah.
Because my sister and brother are not like, they're not really into antiques or the history of I mean, not that they're not into it, but they don't want the stuff.
What I like hearing is that you're all kind of uh, you're taking into account, or you're talking to your kids or your parents about it, and not just making a decision for them. Because I know a lot of my childhood trauma and the need to save everything comes from the fact that I had a mom who really just would toss things out or give them away. And when she passed away, it was very easy to clean out her house because she'd already given it all away, or she had little notes on some few things that she really loved that she had saved as to who it was supposed to go to. But mostly we took a lot of big 90s furniture to the thrift store. you know
Yeah.
and uh but the fact that she just gave stuff away was for a little child who would come home and be like, where's my doll that I always play with? Oh,
Yeah.
your cousin was here today and her daughter needed it, and so I gave it to her. And so I was always, it made me a much more um careful parent. Like, I helped my kids when we had a limited number of toy bins because we lived in a tiny house. And so we would rotate 2 bins every 3 months. And so when they got new items, something had to go, and I let them pick that. And other than vacuuming up Barbie and Polly Pocket shoes, guilt free, I didn't toss stuff of theirs, and I didn't get rid of them without them being a part of the exchange. And neither of them are pack rats, thankfully, because
Yeah.
of it, probably.
Yeah, I can see where that would be very traumatic. Like, I mean, because, you know, you don't have no matter if it's a 5 cent, you know, quarter toy out of the gumball machine or if it's a $40 Barbie, as a child, you don't have that much that is really special to you in a value perspective. It's more of my grandma gave me that, or it's my favorite thing to play with. And so I can see where that would be extremely hard.
Yeah.
I
People,
think,
oh, go ahead, Hazel.
oh, I was just going to say that, you know, every time as a parent, those threats about if I have to pick up these damn toys, they're going to end up, you know. So your mother actually followed through or didn't even threaten it, I guess. But, you know, every parent has done that when there's excess in most households. It was always a threat to sort of, you know, look after your things or they're gone. That was one of the things that ran through my mind. Um, I just, I don't know. Everything that is being said has resonated to some degree. We all remember seeing those posters. Children learn what they live. I think
Yeah.
the fact that many of our kids are self-defined and self-declared minimalists is maybe because they grew up in situations where there was too much of everything.
Mhm.
So they thought, you know, why are mom and dad hanging on to all this crap? You know, they're going to live simpler, um, cleaner lives. I think part of it is a generational thing. So if John and her sisters say, let's do experiences, that's definitely what today's more mature child is saying. You know, they're not buying the tchotchke that say made in Hawaii or, you know, whatever. They're taking the photos of them ziplining or whatever.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it's part of the, and I think actually, now I'm the oldest in this group, but I think that many cases, we all fit the description of the sandwich generation, where we're caught between our parents and our children, and we're supposed to be making all of this work for everyone. It could involve care giving, you know, before they die. It could mean handling the estate and the cleanup after they're gone, as well as, of course, parenting our own children. So, you know, we too have gone through that process of having to deal with someone's lifetime possessions.
Right.
And you think to yourself, well, how many margarine containers can one person keep? You know, so we some goofy stuff like that we hang on to. If our parents grew up during the Depression, that was another life event that marked a whole generation of people and their relationship with stuff. So this is all complicated, but I'm totally in sync with Carol, and the talking it through makes all the difference in the world. I believe
Yeah.
that my daughter would keep some things out of nostalgia and because they had value to me and to my husband, her father. Um, Whereas I think if my son was any closer to us, he would rent one of those oversized dumpsters and just keep filling till it was time to order a second one,
Right.
because that's how
Yeah.
different kids are. Um, you know, Ann Landers used to say, you never know what a person is like till you split an inheritance with them.
This is true.
And I
Yeah.
think people also have learned that um, that is not a pleasant experience usually. So it's just all very complicated, and I guess we all have to figure out what makes sense in our own situation, and honestly not judge or impose our opinions on other people, because it has to be a personal decision.
Yeah.
Right.
I think
I
you can't
Yeah.
you, oh, sorry, Hazel.
Well, I'm just going to end with the idea that every so often I say to my husband, and of course he keeps us collected and saved things, other different than mine. And of course, when you live on a farm, space is infinite. Yeah, that's why you have outbuildings. So odds are that I will be the one left to deal with that. And the thing is that, if anyone has watched auction sales, that sometimes they have to group 2 or 3 boxes to get that opening bid of $1. So it's not like some of this stuff is going to be a windfall. So every so often I say, one of these days we're going to croak. Who are we imposing this task on? So anyway, I'll stop there.
Yeah.
I think what I was just wanting to say to finish my thought was I think it's an evaluation of that heart piece, because it says where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. So uh I think your stuff can be a trap for your heart. I think, like, my daughter spent time doing missions in Haiti, and she said they have nothing. They don't have a mattress on the floor, and they're some of the happiest people. Uh, so I think we live in a very different, we say first world problems, because
Yeah.
because oh, my car's in the shop again or whatever, and they don't even have a concept of maintaining a vehicle, and yet they're just fine walking or whatever. And so we all live in a different place, with the fact that we need or don't need stuff. But it's whether that stuff holds our heart above those things. I love, that Jonna was kind of listing out those things that are actually in heaven. What are those treasures in heaven? And I went ahead and wrote them in around this little plant that I put on from my stencil. Just because I think that's the piece I'm taking away today, is, and something that I keep in my head when I am thinking about, the fact that I run a small business that involves reselling vintage items to a lot of you. That's, I think, why Angela and I really, our tagline is, first and foremost, come and be in the chat, come and be a part. Buying is never an obligation. Come and hang out with us, because it is about community, even ahead of our need to sell items as part of our business. I'm like the Angela said, it's fun to find things that then you need or you want, or you're go with your collection. And so I think that's really the heart of our business, and that makes me feel like I'm in the right place with what I'm doing. And I'm constantly reevaluating that, of course, for
Yeah.
my own piles of things.
Right. Well, and I think that's very well said. And I couldn't agree more. But I would also say that I may not have such a problem with getting rid of things in my craft room because of our business, because I know someone will love it as much as I did. Like someone
Yeah.
I know. I mean, at least, through our chat, or which I believe all of you are my friends that are in the chat. So it just that feels good. I mean, it also feels good to take that big bag of clothes to the to the thrift store that are going to help people in Haiti or wherever it is, but there's something really special about the connection of art and things that maybe I can't use anymore, but I know someone else will love and be able to use. So I think that's huge. Um, I wanted to mention a couple things that back to what Hazel was talking about when you were saying, about the children, were they seeing people grow up with a lot of, or too much, and so they have a lot less? I'm not sure. I don't have the answer for that. But one thing that sparked a thought is I am seeing more and more people, young people, my kids' age, that are doing junk journals. So when they're traveling, they're doing like Jonna does. They're taking the little photos, but they're taking their receipt, they're taking their ticket from the bus, they're picking up one postcard and they're putting it in a journal. And that's really awesome to see. And I mean, they're actually using what would otherwise be their junk on their trip, but they're not getting 5 different what do you call them? Stay with us city brochures, and then cutting up. They're just using what they actually accumulated. So I think that's cool. I mean, I've seen that a lot on, Pinterest and on TikTok and all of those other tickety talk, Instagram, whatever's. But the other thing that reminded me of when we talk about, when we're not here, what are our kids going to do, and who's going to do what with it? And both of my kids, well, all 4 of our kids will probably just be like, get rid of it, unless it's a motorcycle or a car they want or something like that. But because
Priorities, baby. Priorities.
yeah, they're like, no, a book about Audrey Hepburn, no, why would I want that?
Yeah.
But yeah, but my best friend, when Val, and she has given me a ton of Nancy, her mom's things, and Nancy and I were very close. But she said when they were having the estate sale that the gentleman, who's just a hoot, said, "No, I want you guys to know this." And she has 2 sisters, so it's just the 3 of them. And she said, "I can guarantee," or he said, "I can guarantee you, I've done this a long time, and there is in every family going to be there's one of each of you. One of you is going to be the sentimental one, and you're not going to want to give anything away without thinking it through. And sometimes you won't even want to do that. And definitely there's a sister who does that. And one of you is going to want to pitch everything in sight, and that would be another sister. And then one of you is all going to be about the money. Financially, how much are we going to make out of this estate sale?" And sure enough, he said it happens every single time. So, just know which one of those children it's going to be that are taking those roles, and then you can kind of assign things for them to do before we're dead and gone, and they have to do it. Let them do it now. But I should probably share about my journal page, but let me have Jonna. She's got hers open, so I'm gonna. Are you done with yours, or no? Are you still working on yours, Jonna?
Me, I'm putting little stars down right now. Hold on one second. They're in my hand. I just wrote the scripture out.
Hang on, I'll make you big.
And then I didn't really have a moth, so I used a butterfly. And then just a nod to Hazel, I did it in purple. So I found a little suitcase because it's just going to remind me that I'm, going on a trip. And yeah, just put the date. I stenciled like a floral behind it with I had this little like tag stencil. And then put some little stars to represent like the treasures, like here's your heart. And then I have the page, and that's it. And I'm going to write my thoughts down in here.
Very nice. And you used your distressing. Hazel, let me get you up here. Are you ready?
Well, I see John. Oh my goodness, that's blurry. So, all I did was I used the stencil. I highlighted the verse. I just wrote out, the name of the verse. I had this little pocket kicking around. So then I created a journaling card. Oh, that's not very smart. All of my flowers bled through. I'm just adding some line work to the stencil and basically kind of captured what I wanted to, the sort of the takeaway for the discussion. I guess the reason I chose this. Um, obviously we've only been here an hour and we'll probably go longer, but I would also like to hear from each of you about the role of devotionals, like books. I understand that, that sort of thing is available on one's phone and computer and so on, and probably podcasts and all of that. I do want to say that I like them from the standpoint that they're bite-sized. Um, if they're dated, they're trackable. And I would also say that I have been doing much more reading of Christian literature and the Bible since we began this series. So if that's a measure of some sort, then I think it's working.
I love hearing that, Hazel.
That's awesome.
I think I talked about at some point in one of these about spiritual discipline, not not in the meaning of like God smacking us upside the head, but in our devotions being disciplined in that we are checking in with him and staying connected on a daily basis. And devotionals are a wonderful way to do that. If I've done a number of different book devotionals. I have an app that sends me a daily verse with a thought. I have done the Bible reading plans where you have a different scripture every day to read through the Bible in a year. I've tried chronological Bibles. I, I different seasons of my life, different things work, and you have to find something that you can really sink your teeth into and feel like you can keep up with it on a daily basis. And there's been definitely times where I've had the luxury to sit down in the morning with a coffee and read through uh, something more lengthy, do the word searches, do all that kind of like verse mapping and all of that. That period of my life probably lasted from when my kids were in high school through college.
Right.
uh,
Yeah.
my life is much more fast paced now. Um, Basically chasing a toddler, keeping up with the garden. But my heart is very connected to God, and I talk to Him all the time about, especially in the garden. I think there is something really that I've uh, got felt a connection to Him in the garden, both at our last property and this, and it's why I have to be out there in the dirt. Um, it's why there's so many garden analogies, I think, in the Bible too, growing and seed sowing and all that kind of thing. And right now, I'm reading to my granddaughter, trying to read Bible stories with her and singing all those little baby Bible songs again. And that is such a precious thing in my daily walk. Just really grateful for that ability to share that with her. And I still do. I have a couple of podcasts that I like, or pastors that I like to listen to. And we're much further away from our home church now. We do try and go, but when we can't, we're very grateful for church online, and there's nothing quite like personal connection, but getting fed, hearing the word on a weekly basis is important. And I actually just bought a devotional, but I haven't started it yet, a new one, and I haven't had one in a long time, and probably not for 2 years. I haven't had a book one. I've just done the apps. So I think you have to find something that you can stick with consistently and that really brings joy and makes you think. And I think I went through a series of years where I went to women's small groups where you talk to other people about what you're all reading the same thing. And that was a huge value to me in that time. Now I live out in the middle of nowhere, and it would it would be really hard to walk away from the duties here to do that. But I never have felt like, oh, if I don't have a specific tool, like I'm going to drift from God, or I'm going to be, or he's going to leave me, and he absolutely won't. And I always find some way to stay connected. And we've been involved in ministry for since to like 1995, I think 1995, until last year we took a sabbatical. And that I thought taking a sabbatical was gonna make me feel less connected to God, and I didn't. And that was very reassuring to me, because I think, I'll be honest, that um I know that I'm talk about with people that it's not about what you're all the works you're doing, like that's not what gets you closer to God. He's not putting a value on you based on how hard you're working for him. But the closer you get to him, the more you want to do for him. And I really thought, oh, maybe some of because we've been very blessed, and we've always told God, we're making a plan, but if it's not your plan, don't let it go. Don't let it happen. And we felt like God has blessed us by trusting him in that. And I think there was a little piece of my humanness that said, man, we're taking a year off ministry, and we haven't done that ever in our married life. And maybe we're not going to be as blessed as we've been doing ministry. And that has absolutely not been the case. Like God is, we're still his children, and he still loves us the same. And he said, take a break, because you're like, right now our ministry is to our own kids and our family again, because we're raising little one again. And that's important work too. Sorry, I went on and on. Sorry.
Yeah, well, it's probably
Don't-
no surprise to anybody that I just talk to God like I'm talking to you, and I'm like, dude, I'm back again, and I know you're probably tired of me today, but I need to, I need to get this off my chest, or what. So I too am constantly having that walk and conversation with, it could be the silliest thing, like I gotta have a hard discussion with somebody. Give me the strength not to like lose my, stuff or whatever.
Yeah.
And but I do feel like the conversations, while that's not really to the devotional aspect, but it does kind of tag on to what Carol was saying, is, it, I don't have to be in a church to do it. I don't have to be anywhere special. I can have that walk with God no matter where I'm at. Now, for the devotional side of it, I would like to say that I wake up every single morning and I sit down with in my office and have my coffee and do my devotionals. I don't. Um, and I don't use one. I have many. And that all just depends on what's going on in my life, uh, what I have time for. It might be just reading one verse, or if something's, if I'm having say I'm anxious about something, I might look up verses about being anxious, and then, kind of read through that. And maybe I like a lot of research, so I might just, instead of reading a devotional, Google something that helps me connect the two pieces. So mine is very unstructured, and I like it that way because it gives me variety. Um, and I feel like there's no pressure. It happens every day, but how that looks is different. And I don't put pressure on myself um, to make it happen. It just kind of happens when it should, and it's natural. So.
Before John answers, I know that this was one of the things that I had discovered in one of these, and it ties in exactly with what Angela just said. So the heading is prayer, and the verse is Jeremiah 29:12-13. You will call upon me and come and pray to me, and I will listen to you. You will seek me and find me where you seek me with all your heart. And then the text here, the interpretation. You may have heard many differing opinions on the subject of prayer. What God says about prayer, however, is simple. When you pray, whether kneeling, sitting, or standing, whether in time-tested words or in your own words, he hears you. He responds in a way designed to increase your faith and develop a strong relationship with him. Continue to pray and pray faithfully, because through prayer, God offers you the comfort of daily conversation between your heart and his. Then on the next page, when you don't receive what you've prayed for, it's easy to conclude God is telling you no. Not so. He has promised to listen to your prayers, but are you listening for his answer? If he chooses to not give you exactly what you have prayed for, he has chosen something better for you. If he chooses to remain silent today, he is encouraging you to continue praying, placing your trust in him and his wisdom.
I like
Yeah,
that.
that's good.
That's some good stuff there now.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
So, John,
It's
what are
interesting.
devotionals?
Oh gosh, I was listening to Carol and I'm thinking, yep, yep, yep. So can we just rewind this live and then start it off where Carol was talking and then just put my voice over it? Um, because I've done all of that. Like, and nothing brings you in more than having to teach others. When you have to teach other people, you grow so much more because you should know what you're teaching, right?
Mhm.
So I kind of, it just ebbs and flows. Whatever is speaking to me at the time. I've enjoyed seasons of the Bible Project on YouTube. And they have a website. I love the Bible Project. Are you guys familiar with them?
Yeah, I love them too.
Yeah, they're so cool. I wish I could draw like that. That's one of the reasons why I like them so much, because it's fascinating, to watch them. How are they going to sketch this all out and fit it all on one page? It's like crazy, but they do. And so I enjoy watching that. And I go through seasons of where it's just strictly I just stay in the word. I don't have any other outside interpretation. I did that for a couple of years just because I wanted the word to speak for itself and through culture and things like that. So I use my cultural study Bible if I'm reading and I don't understand, or if I want to go a little bit like understand more about the culture. Like, why did you use it? Why did you say this? Like, what does this matter to anybody now? And things like that.
Right.
So I do enjoy reading in the cultural study Bible. But as far as like other people's, back in the day when I first got started, I was in a church. They did all the Beth Moore studies. It was like, uh, but it was allowing someone else to teach me, which is good when you're a baby, right? You're fed, so other people feed you, and that's how you grow. But then eventually you get to a point where, okay, I know how to work a spoon. I need to start feeding myself. but I'm going to maybe start with, oatmeal so I don't burn myself or whatever. And then you get up to like, you get, the more you develop your relationship with the Lord, you desire to know the deeper things. Like, uh, you'll just desire to know the deeper things. I know Hazel made a comment when we first started this. Like, she said, I'll never be one to like that's gonna study the Bible like Jonna does or look up a word or anything like that. And yeah, I got you, Hazel. I totally get it. But I'm just saying this because once you start to get into this and over years of like your walk that you'll be on, you're going to go through ebbs and flows, and you'll have questions where you're going to have to look something up, and it gets like it builds this fire in you where you want to know more. You want like you're very inquisitive. So I can't imagine that you're going to just sit on the surface. Like you're very into history. You love the Ukrainian history and your roots there. And I think I'm gonna find such joy in watching you on this journey. Um, it excites me. So
I
So
agree.
pick up on that since you've singled me out. Does that, there's that line about there are no atheists and foxholes. So could it be that as a person, and I think by many measures, I've really had a charmed life. Haven't, no one in our family is very ill or has a chronic disease or is like in many ways, I am truly blessed. But I also am realistic enough to know that isn't always how it goes. So is what you're saying, Donna, the idea that when a person really has no place else to find an answer, that is when a person will dig, dig, dig. Because I can think of one point in my life when that happened. I think I might have alluded to that in a previous one of these sessions, where I was at the end of my smug little rope, thinking I could fix everything. And it involved a child of mine. And I remember going out to the corrals because I would have been alone, and cows are notoriously good secret keepers. They weren't going to repeat it. And I
so our
said,
horses.
I said, I'm at the end of my rope. I have nothing. I don't know what to do next. That was my official turning over of the issue to the Lord. And I don't know that there was necessarily a happy ending, but there was an ending and a belief in me that I, at least, even though it wasn't directly affecting me, that I had some lessons I needed to learn. And I think that's what the answer was. So I guess that's a long, convoluted thing. But I guess I'm wondering whether all of you have been forced to dig deep. Well, I guess I know the answer for Carol and probably for Jonna. And maybe Angela hasn't had that happen. But I suspect that for each of you two girls, there has been something very troubling or whatever that you've needed to find the strength to deal with. And that deepened and broadened your study of the Bible and the Word. Is that accurate? Fair to say?
Well, I think it's really interesting because of what you were saying about how like you get to a certain point where you need to dig deep. I think it goes back to the scripture that you read when you seek him, right? And I think
Yeah.
you have to be at a point where you want to seek him, and you're seeking for answers, or you're searching out. When you become a Christian or a follower of Jesus, you you're on a seeking mission because you want to know who this is that you're following naturally, right? You just don't go follow after, well, some people do, they follow after everything, but naturally you'll want to know who you're following, and developing a trust following him. I do believe that in certain people's lives, not all people, some people are very blessed. They have everything. Why do they need God? I know someone very close to me that's that way. They don't need God at all because they have millions of dollars. They have multiple homes. They have multiple cars. They have every need they could ever want. People who work for them, like that, take care of their daily needs. Like, so what? Why do they need God? Why they need him? And my question
Yeah.
is, well, that's great till you hit about 90 and you're on your deathbed. And
Yeah.
now, are you okay with your life living in a like, that's it? It's done. It's over. There's so much more. This is just because we should have lived a lot longer on this earth, but because sin came into the world, and we are not living in the earth as God his design for us was to dwell with us in the Garden of Eden, and that's not what happened. So uh it's all gonna go away, and the only thing you have is what you, like this scripture says, what you have put up, in, for eternity. But I think I sought him because he made himself real to me. I was not seeking him when he found me, and I was like maybe 4 or 5 years before he found me, but until before I found him and he found me, kind of a thing. And I mean, he always knew where I was, but I finally paid attention. Let's put it that way. But he he actually came to me and made himself known to where I knew that it was God. And that's when I started on my journey. But prior to that, I remember just like, yeah, crying out and crying, and just, but I felt like it wasn't really going anywhere and doing anything. And
What I'm taking away from that is you're saying that people, again, back to the atheists in foxholes, that when you feel your life is in danger, and maybe you've heard about God and didn't put in the work and didn't follow the breadcrumbs to him, so a person definitely will utter a prayer at that point. So I'm what I'm interpreting from what you're saying, Jonna, is that people will seek and find when they're at their greatest needs, but others will seek and find when they are in a joyful and learning state of their existence, where they feel that a need is being met that they didn't even know was unmet. So it's from a joyful approach. This makes me feel good. Let me get more of this feel good feeling.
yeah, exactly. And once you do, and I know you guys can probably, this will resonate. Once you do find him, once you do once you do find him, you take him in and you invite him into your heart, and you've made him the Lord of your life. You then have there's a completion in that. You are satisfied. You have there's just this, you're satisfied. And no matter what happens, like, no one can take that away from you.
That's
And
right.
you have a mind shift over to eternal. And I want my mansion Jesus is building me up there. I want my Willy Wonka chocolate factory. Like, I've already put in. The word says you have not because you ask not. I want my chocolate river. I want my coffee fountains. Like, I've been asking. And I
Yeah.
want my big stable of horses. So I don't, I think that I think that there's multiple ways that people have come to Jesus, as far as whether you come out of need or you come out because into a relationship with him because you were in need, or because you were just raised in that environment, and then all of a sudden you have to make a decision: is this the God that I'm going to follow? This is my parents. There's a shift
Right. Right. That's
that
my
goes
story.
between, yeah, that goes between I'm following the God of my parents to now I've made him my personal savior, and now I
Yeah.
need to know him for myself. I know the God and Jesus who my parents followed, but now I need to know who he is for myself. And then there's the one that comes in at the last minute, at the deathbed. Then there's the one that comes in the middle of their lives, and because they've had some kind of traumatic thing that leads you to the Lord. But
Yeah.
that's the cool thing about God. He wants everyone in. He wants you all. He wants you
Yeah.
Yep.
all. That's the cool
That's
thing.
that's for sure.
I think
Yeah. Yeah.
oh,
Go
I'm
ahead,
sorry.
Ange.
Oh, I just, I was raised with, the Bible and with church and with Jesus in my life from the time I was little. And I know that, he showed up. It is different once you invite him into your heart as your Lord and Savior. It is different. I can tell you that is very true. But he still showed up just at times when I'd be like, this can't just be a coinky dink. This is way too much a God thing. Um, but then, I didn't do a lot of asking of things. And I guess maybe I've kind of lived a charm life up until this point too. But until you really go through something and you're like, I don't know if I can do this. And you just have to give it all up to him, and uh, lean into him in every sense of the word, and trust. And when you see that and the way he works, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Because
And I
I
think,
couldn't have done it without
all
him.
right. Well, and I think we live in an age in the world where it seems like everything around us is trying to tell us to use our own logic, uh, lean on intellect or um, what feels right.
Yeah,
And the Bible tells us that we shouldn't really trust our own brain and our own heart because it's not the best way. God's way is the best way, and sometimes
Lean
and
not
most
unto your own understanding.
right, right, and like your heart is the least trusted thing. Oh, the heart what's the heart wants what the heart wants. Well, the heart doesn't always make the best
best
decisions
choices.
for us,
Yeah, he
and
even says it's wicked. He even says the heart can be
yep.
wicked.
So uh, I've seen people who've hit a hard spot in their life leave God because, instead of finding the comfort in him and seeing him work through the situation or carry you through the situation, they're like, "Why me, God?" And they walk
Yeah,
away. And it's never God's intention to harm us. He may not stand in the way or put a stop to something, or but he's always there to carry us through it. And I think that's the thing we have to realize is we live in a sinful place where evil things happen, and he is here to walk with us through having to deal with all of that. And yeah, uh Jana mentioned the our prayers being held in heaven, and there's a verse about the bowls in heaven and how when you have people praying for you, I like to have that visual image of, when somebody on YouTube asks me to pray for their sick husband or their a financial situation they're dealing with or whatever it is, I think about my prayers going in that bowl for that person until the bowl is overflowing, and that person gets poured out a blessing because we're all praying for it. And I think it's very important to be together as a community and supporting each other in that way. Because I think the more of us who are working to communicate that need to God, he turns his ear to us and he does create miracles. And when the miracles don't come the way we think that they should, I still trust in him because consistently he shows up for me and helps comfort me and helps me overcome, and he brings solutions that are good to my feeble brain. And I've just seen faithful things time and time and time again, to where now my faith is very strong because when I have questioned him in the past, he shows up. And
Oh, you're
Did she
breaking
cut
up.
off or she stopped?
Yeah, I think she might have stuck. Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah.
But Hazel, getting back to what you were saying, when you were talking, I had to look it up. I was thinking about Job and what he went through. And when you read the story, you really have to hang in till the end because the reason why God brings you through something, and I'm just going to tag this on until Carol comes back. When Carol, you come back, you interrupt me. But at the end, he literally, Job gets to the point where, okay, now all this stuff has happened. His wife's telling him, curse God and die. And he gets to this point where he then does this whole self-reflection. And that's exactly where God wanted him. He says it's in Job 42. He's in number 5. This is the key to the whole book of Job. It's at the end of 42 chapters. He says, I have heard you by the hearing of the ear, but now my eyes see you. Therefore, I abhor myself and repent in dust and ashes. And I think we have to get to a point where we have heard him, but now my eyes have seen you. And you get to that point where, okay, I see you in all of this. And then God goes on to say about, like, it was really for his heart, where your heart was during all of this. And I mean, he knew that Job was not going to curse him from the beginning, because that's what he tells Satan when Satan asks to sift him. But that's all I wanted to say. I just want, it's always like always a heart check. That's where you should always go first. Whenever you're going through something, check your heart first so that you don't have to go 42 chapters.
Yeah, and just so you guys know, Carol is her phone died, so she's gonna listen in the chat until we are done today. But
Okay.
yeah, I couldn't agree more. Was that helpful, Hazel?
Yeah, I mean, I'm like a sponge here. I'm soaking in everything that everyone is saying. I'm measuring it against what I know, what I believe, and also staying open to learning more. I did take some time to apologize to the people in the chat. And what I said is, I haven't said hi or acknowledged your deep, vulnerable, profound insights and comments. Bless you all for being here and saying wonderfully kind things to me and the others. I think that, and again, this seems to happen time after time. I'm either caught up in, hanging on every word that everyone is saying, or I'm talking myself, or I'm, doing whatever it is in my Bible, that I'm not reading the chat. And I feel myself having to say this again, that I'm not ignoring or not taking in what you're saying. It's just hard for me to break the flow and respond. So forgive me for that.
And please don't worry about that, Hazel. That's why there are 4 of us here, and I've been monitoring it. I know Carol was too. So please don't feel bad about that. We
And
got you, girl.
Hey,
and
I'm worse than you. I looked up, and then the one time I looked up, I texted in there, "Hi Debbie," and I read her name so fast, and her name was Deborah, so I was like, "Oops." So that's hence why I'm not reading. I don't read the chat.
well, and it's
I'm
because
trying to listen to what you're saying. Look, okay, I'm trying to listen to what you're saying, plus craft, plus like pray and ask the Lord what kind of answers I need to come up with, and then look at what you're crafting. There's a lot going on in here.
Yeah.
I,
But I would say for all of us in on here on the screen, as well as all of you watching either on the replay or if you got here a little late, once this we're done, I always love to go back and watch, and you can watch the live chat as we go. And if you don't know how to do that, it would probably be a good time for me to share with you how you do that. So when you pull up the live, if you're going to watch the replay, you'll see below it will say comment, but there'll be three little dots on the right hand side. And if you slide across on that, it will say watch what people are saying in the live chat. And then you can click on that and it will all come up and you can watch it in real time like we've had the conversations. And I think you're going to see some really profound comments in here. Some very good insight, some good tips, and that's one of the blessings that we all get from this because I'm learning every single day, and I don't ever want to stop learning. And some of you have just such wonderful, wonderful things to share, and I think we should all be able to enjoy that. So that's how you can go back and watch the live replay.
okay, can
I
I
just
just
want to tell Veronica too. I did see your comment earlier, and if we want to pray for her at the end, I'm sure it's very overwhelming what you're going through right now.
Yeah,
yeah.
for sure.
Can I just say that because of technical difficulties, I forgot to stream this to my audience.
Oh,
Is an option that we all have with Angela's paid StreamYard program. So duh, want to smack myself in the forehead for that. We mustn't forget to do the draw. And I thought there was a third thing. I just
there probably was. If you're like me, you forgot it already.
yeah.
Do you want to do while you're thinking of it, Hazel? Do you want me to do the giveaway on here to draw,
Sure.
or do you? Okay,
Yeah, and maybe let the word be treasure, and
need
that
that.
everyone can decide in their own minds what's treasure and what's not treasure, and that would qualify. And again, if you joined late, I am in Canada. My prize will be what we hope slips past the border guards as a document as opposed to a parcel and a gift that would trigger tariffs at your end.
And I just wrote.
I can't talk and type at the same time.
I just wrote. Type in the word treasure in order to participate, and we're collecting the entries right now, and then I'll go ahead and make myself live. This is probably a good time to talk. I know Carol is not verbally here, but she's in the chat. So we're having some discussions about our next Bible journaling. The verdict is out. We all need to have a little conversation in the next week or so about whether we're going to do December or not. I know that Carol did have a plan to do something in December, so stay tuned for that. We will let you know. And then that will depend. I guess it would be Carol, then Jonna, then me. So depending on, it will either be February or March that I will have my next hosting round, I believe. But if you have a Eloise Wilkin little golden book, or I just got this little book of prayers, be on the lookout for those. Or I probably will have some coming, and I don't know. I'm sure I have some here that I can share with you guys too. But when I do mine in whatever month that is, we're going to use those. So I thought if you didn't have one, you might want to be on the lookout for one of those.
I have a bunch of them. I can give some away on my
Yeah.
month because I come before you, right?
That would be awesome. And I think I do too. I'll
Yeah.
have to go through and maybe I can find some and I'll do some of those for giveaways up to
Yep.
that too. So everybody can get one if they don't have their hands on them. And if somebody wins it and they already have one, maybe we can just redraw or something. So, but let's see. I was hoping to give some time so we could get a lot of entries. We have we have 18 here and we still, let's see, we still could use some more. I only see 9 entries. Ladies, before we finish up, anything else that we need to
I'm dropping everything. Sorry.
that we
Oh,
need to
Microdot, Angela, Microdot is asking what the name of that book is again. So can you show the cover?
Oh, she's talking about these. I just happened to grab these two. This is Prayers for Children by it's an Eloise Wilkin. The pictures are by Eloise Wilkin. And then this one is Little Prayers, and it's the a Golden Lookbook. And this is also Esther Wilkins and Eloise Wilkin. I just happened to pick these two up, and I have them with my Bible journaling things. So any type of like children's book about prayers or prayers and poems or something like that would be great. And even if you don't have something that's like this, any kind of children's book we can work with.
Then you can just take stickers and put prayers on it.
There you go.
Can
Okay.
we do a close of of each person's spread before we do the draw?
Yeah, we did Johnna's. Johnny, you want to go again? Oh, you want it here. You want that kind of close up. Hold on. Let me make sure.
Sorry.
She got all up in there.
Hazel's always on me like, Jonna, could you move your camera down a little bit? And it's very shadowy in here right now because the sun's going down on the other side now. That's mine.
Very good. Thank you.
Very nice. Very nice. Well, I got to get to mine. Well, I couldn't find any. I think I might have found some moths after I got looking while we were all talking. But I just wanted to experiment with the pastels. So I did that with a, this is a butterfly stencil. And then I used a bunch of stickers. And I told you I'd used up that page. So I had to have a tuck in. And then I found these great big ones because this was some kid sitting there. This is like a teen Bible, so it's got some things that I don't want. And just so you all know, I don't use this till I'm not reading. I have other Bibles. So sometimes I've covered up the verse that we might have been working on. So it's on a different page, but,
okay.
And I do have to say, Hazel, I don't know that you planned this, but your verse and the title that I put with this week's Bible journaling reset was Finding Peace and Purpose in the Pages. I think went very well together, and I know neither one of us planned that. So
well, there is everybody out there in the world, and I think
there is.
We know
See? Somebody's got us covered. Okay, there you go.
Oh, and I just thought that, like, duh. Yes, people did show their pages. I continued to add a bit more, decorated the little coin envelope there, added I don't know what you people are seeing. I'm seeing a pixelated mess. I added some Caran d'Ache water soluble crayons, wet it very lightly just so the color softens, and that is essentially where I left off today.
Can you hold it up and then not move it at all because it's pixelating? When you hold it still, it'll focus.
Well, I don't know what the doohickey is. I used my shirt sleeve to wipe my camera when we were having issues. So.
Oh, that came out so good.
Oh, thank you.
Well, that's pretty.
It is.
And I just want to formally say a thank you to everyone who shows up here because honestly, yeah, the four of us like each other, and we've got things in the works and so on. And we would I would say we would probably do this even if you weren't here. But it is so much more meaningful that so many of you are showing up, and through your words, supporting what we're doing, and apparently finding value in what we're doing. So that's always a bonus from a YouTube content creator perspective. So you guys rock.
Yes,
Rock.
for sure. You rock and roll. And I did get word from Carol. She said if we want to do December 7th at 2 p.m. is the only Sunday she has open. I believe I'm open that Sunday, so I will leave it up to the two of you. But if you are in agreement, we'll just make it official. If not, then we'll go back to the drawing board.
Yeah, let's do it.
Hazel?
Oh, I'm in.
Oh, you are? Okay, cool. So
Yeah.
December 7th, 2 p.m. I better write this down somewhere because you know
I
what
know, right
happens.
now.
I forget. And then let me see. December 7th, it's a date. And that's going to be at 2 p.m. Central Standard Time.
That's episode number 5.
Oh, wow. And
Oh, I need to start numbering these.
and
Thank
Carol,
you.
oh, we were supposed to do I, as my mom would say, do you have a turd in your pocket? No, it's all I am. Yes, this is number 5. So our rotation changes again. And I know that Carol has something special planned. Oh, okay. See, I was like, oh man, can I say?
So this one we did today was 4?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Almost put 5 there.
And this is going to be a little Advent lesson, she says. So that's exciting.
Nice.
Does she have any instructions to give us? Because, because I changed horses in midstream, there wasn't much notice for people. Oh, you know what? I'd like to know that too. Maybe in the chat, can you tell us, are you just on the edge of your seats listening and watching, or are you crafting alongside us? Because that might either add some pressure or take some pressure off if we think that we have to notify you about what's upcoming and, let you prepare. Or is everyone just doing their own thing?
Yeah. And also, I mean, I hate to say this because then we're really going to have to be more prepared, but do you want to know what verse we're working on in advance, or is that as important as just knowing the date and that we're here?
Microdot said, I didn't know this was scheduled. I was on another channel and was bored.
Well, I'm thankful, Jane. Thanks for hanging out with us.
It was a divine intervention.
Yeah.
Oh, Microdot's name is Jane?
Yeah.
Okay, nice to meet you, Jane. I see her all the time in the chat, but I didn't know her super secret name.
So Hope said she worked in her Bible journal.
Denise did those. She's very talented. Nice.
Did you do the drawing?
No.
Oh.
I mean, I was just waiting for everybody to put their name in, to put in the word treasure. But I think I'm ready. And then we will end today's time together and we'll see you next time. So here we go. Let's see who's going to win the giveaway for this week.
Obviously, if it's a person that I don't know, you would have to reach out to me with your mailing address so that I could mail the prize.
Let me tell you, if Denise wins again, she's got to go play. Man, that's Hope. She's another one.
Hope also needs to buy a lottery ticket because
and then take us all on a cruise.
That's her third win.
Wow.
Goodness. Congratulations, Hope. And I do have your address, so don't worry about sending it. That's great.
Yeah. Well,
Yay.
Deborah, we would love for you to do that too. But just having you here, and Janet and Deborah, we love to have all of you here. So don't feel like you're pressured to do it. Just work on what you want to work on. You know, we can all do our, just like we do our devotions, we can all, come to God in our art too. So no pressure to do it one way. You can do it any way you wish. So congratulations. I'm going to stop sharing my screen now and we are going to say goodbye to you. And on behalf of Carol, we're going to say goodbye from her as well, from California. We will
Aw.
see you again on December 7th. And let us know if we can do anything for you. If you need our prayers, you can definitely reach out. You don't have to do it publicly if you don't want to. Veronica, we're all going to be sending up prayers for you. And you got this. And we're all praying for you. So take
Yes.
care, everybody. Until next time, we will see you soon and have a great rest of the night.
Bye.
Bye.